Ooh, what's up, internet? My name is Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
Because this is episode 2 of the Boba Fett, our full spoiler chat, because we get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to the channel for the spoiler chat, the Wednesday tradition where we talk about a Disney Plus show. And this one is a very, 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 very delicious episode of the Book of Boba Fett. This was fantastic. I woke up not feeling too hot, and then I watched this episode, and I
feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Wish you'd warned me about the intro. Could have prepared
But it's
myself
more
for that.
fun when you don't know it's coming.
Because you can see the fear in my eyes.
I also couldn't have warned you because I literally came up with it after the ooh started.
You know what? That checks out. What a fantastic Disney Plus day.
What a banger.
What a banger.
What a banger. I'm convinced that this volume, whatever this magical room of technology filmmaking stuff that the Disney has, is going to be the future of cinema.
Oh, in terms of visuals.
That train sequence. Mm-hmm. If they filmed that entire train sequence in the volume and it looked that good, I'm convinced there is nothing we won't be able to do in the future. Because, not to get to the end of the episode too quickly, but that was one of the most fun action sequences I have watched in a long time. That was, and that's actually not true because Spider-Man had great ones and Shang-Chi had great ones. But in terms of television, in terms of a TV
show, they really just made it feel like we were watching the next big blockbuster.
100%.
Disney spares no expense when it comes to Star Wars, and I think it really pays off.
Mm-hmm. I would argue that you can easily put that train sequence up against the train sequence from Solo. And I'm not saying it's better than the Solo train sequence. I think they're both really fun, and I love both of them. But
no, but they hold up.
This is not the TV version of that sequence. Mm-hmm. This is as on par in terms of graphics, in terms of scope, mm-hmm. in terms of combat, in terms of the pacing of it is really fantastic. That train sequence was truly incredible to me.
Yeah, 1,000%. I was blown away. I was like, wait, this is a TV show?
Yeah. But let's talk about the one thing about this episode that is leaning into something that I want to talk about with you because it's not my favorite thing about Boba Fett. And it is the connection between the past storyline and the present storyline feels a little bit disjointed to me. Uh-huh. Usually when you have a flashback in your show, like Arrow did through, all of it, the first 5 seasons, mm-hmm. the point of the flashback is to tell a story that is relevant to the present story of that episode. Yeah. And I'm not feeling like that's what we're getting here. I feel like we're getting 2 different Boba Fett stories that I'm excited for both. Yeah. But I'm not seeing the connective tissue yet.
They don't have a relationship to one another yet. And you pointed out, this episode really felt like it was in 2 parts. Mm-hmm. Almost like 2 mini episodes where we had present day stuff and then we had past stuff. And normally when people do that, there is a reason for it, for mm-hmm. the present day characters. And so far we haven't gotten that.
Well, they're just not thematically connected to me, which I find so fascinating. There's no... I wouldn't say there's a common theme between the story of the present day, because the story of the present day is 3 scenes. It's the first, 40% of the episode is present day. It's 3 scenes. They're interesting. We'll get to the characters that are revealed in them because, I literally got out of bed. I literally got out of bed. It was... And, maybe it's my fault for watching these lying down, but, at every episode, at some point, I am fully erect. My upper body is sitting... oh, God. I shouldn't have said it that way. But I do wonder... In the writer's room, what they're talking about...
Those Twi'leks.
It's those damn Twi'leks.
Sorry.
It's always the Twi'leks. Although, no hot male Twi'lek. They kept the hot lady Twi'lek from the first episode, but where's the hot male Twi'lek?
Yeah, I want to know.
Also, I'm not going to get into internet rumors, but the conversation about that male Twi'lek and ears and whether or not that male Twi'lek is trans was very interesting this week. Go dive into it. There are much more knowledgeable people talking about that than I am. Apparently, the male Twi'lek from the first episode had female Twi'lek ear shape.
Huh. Yeah,
I don't know. I love Star Wars. Didn't know that Twi'leks had different ears for different genders.
Me neither.
Interesting. I wonder what is going on in the writer's room when they're talking about structuring these episodes. Because if I'm going to be completely honest, and you know me, I'm not going to lie. If you put these two episodes together, they feel more like one episode than if you separate them into two episodes. Like, I would say the pilot and this episode... If they were to put this out as a single, like, 1 hour episode, I think that would have felt more connected than this as two separate episodes did.
Why?
Because the Garcia, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Her storyline has a beginning, a middle, and an end across the two episodes.
Who?
The Twi'lek bar owner.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you put that as one episode, right? Boba Fett takes the throne. We see Tatooine. We see Boba Fett go talk to that woman, and we see him talk to the major domo, who says that they're not going to give tribute. Then in the middle of the episode, he gets attacked, and so he drags the person to talk, and that cuts to the flashback to the prequel or the flashback on Tatooine. Then it cuts to him taking the guy to the mayor, and then he finds out about the Hutt. The Hutt threatening him is the end of episode 1, and then it goes into the train heist. I think that would have felt, if they put that out together last week, I think that a lot of the lukewarm response that they saw to Boba Fett over the last week, not from us, I really loved the first episode, I think all of that would have been gone. Because I think that what people wanted from this show was delivered in this episode, but neither half of this episode felt like an episode's worth of content.
Okay.
And I think that it's partially the runtime of this show coming in at less than a typical episode of television's runtime is affecting my brain, where like my expectation of the storyline has been kind of conditioned to a certain amount of time. Okay. I don't know. That's just me. That's my take, but.
All right. I kind of get it. I don't know. To be honest, if putting that out together would have swayed people.
There is a section of the audience who 100% would not have had the week that they had complaining about the show if this train sequence had been part of the pilot.
It just depends on what their complaints were, though, because I don't think that this week's episode did anything different enough to, like, if I hadn't liked last week's episode, I don't know what would have changed my mind about this week's.
In last week's episode, I think that Boba Fett as a character comes across more capable in this episode than he does in the first one.
And people are not upset. Wait, people were upset in episode 1 that he's flawed?
No. I think that they were upset at how little, like, happened.
All right, I mean, this is all speculation, right? We can't really talk about why, like...
It's tough.
Other people's opinions on the show because that's not how I see it. So without talking to someone who actually has that opinion, I don't really think I can give any kind of insight. But I'm kind of confused by that. I think that the natural progression for a TV show was very apparent in these two episodes. You had a really good setup. Yeah. Oh yeah. Last week's episode answered a ton of questions and set up the present day and the flashbacks very well. I'm not saying that they were like my favorite things in the world, but I thought they were executed well, and I think that they touched on the most interesting parts of Boba Fett's story that we are going to then get for the rest of the season. I don't want everything in episode 1.
I'm not saying that I want everything in episode 1, but I think that episode 1 used the cutting between the present day and the past better than this episode did.
This episode, I agree with that.
Because this episode had one chunk of present and then one chunk of past, and they were long and thematically disconnected from one another, I think that if you had put the two episodes together, you would have had more back and forth in one episode that would have helped the stuff in this episode feel more thematically resonant to the first episode. Because in the first episode, the first thing we see in the present in the first episode is Boba Fett go sit on the throne. And then at the end of the train sequence, we see Boba Fett sitting on the spice that he steals, or that they take off of the train, like he is sitting on a throne. Yeah, and the warrior Sand Raider is standing next to him the way that Fennec Shand is standing next to him in the throne room. And so I think that if they had bookended the pilot with Boba Fett sitting on the throne in contemporary times, and then realizing that he hasn't necessarily earned it yet throughout the pilot, and that there are reasons why there's more fighting he has to do to earn that throne than just sitting on it. And then bookending the pilot with the opposite story of this rise through the sand person ranks to the point where he is sitting on that throne and making those decisions at the end of the pilot in the past.
Yeah.
I think that if they had structured the pilot with those two narratives, like the present narrative kind of humbling him in present times and making him realize he hasn't earned this, while the past narrative, it would have been a really satisfying single experience.
Yeah.
But because it's split in chunks, the second episode feels like it is a fun action sequence, a fun character reveal, and not a lot of thematic movement.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
That's what I mean by these two would have really gone well together, is that those crisscrossing narratives would have been really fun in one episode.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's very clear that like Boba Fett doesn't really know what he's doing in the present day.
Oh yeah, he's way out of his depth, and I love it.
Yeah. He is an incredible warrior and strategist, but like those skills don't transfer to politics. That is a different kind of strategy than like battles and fights and like sneaking and bounty hunting. I don't know about sneaking.
I love that you just were like, that is so different than Skyrim abilities.
Bounty hunting is not a Skyrim ability. Thank you very much.
Bounty hunting? Is Boba Fett a sneak archer?
No.
Is Fennec Shand a sneak archer?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, she is.
No.
She's
sneak
a little
archers
sniper.
are boring.
Whoa!
I said it.
Whoa, we're in trouble.
I said it. I said the thing. And moving on. That's a whole other video. Anyways, I really like seeing that Boba Fett isn't like invulnerable. Like he's in danger. I'm in danger. He's in danger right now, and I am fascinated about how he's going to navigate that, because like sometimes I can predict the sequence of like a fight and how a person comes out on top. I don't have a political mind, and so I'm watching this. I'm like, what the hell is he going to do?
There's a reason we make YouTube videos.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going to happen? Because I have no idea.
I'm so glad his transition to being the daimyo isn't smooth.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
It is
There'd
really...
not be much of a story.
Well, yeah, but like there is a story about him just running things and what running things is like. But the story of he wants it and he's taken it. But being a daimyo is he's a bounty hunter who's always worked on his own, and so his mindset is, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah,
and he can't.
No.
And I think the most interesting thing about this is going to be watching this character who literally can't achieve his goal alone have to figure out how to make people work for him.
I mean, he's kind of already figured it out in a sense, which I think I think came a little bit too easily, but that he saw the value of in episode 1 with the green guys.
The Gamorrean guards?
Gamorrean guards, yeah.
That's muscle. See, but Boba Fett understands muscle. I think that what Boba Fett has to learn is how to manipulate money and behind the scenes stuff.
Sure, I just mean like that is like the tip of the iceberg, right? Because he cannot be 1,000 eyes and 1,000 ears, and like he needs people. He needs somebody to advise him. He needs somebody to watch his back. He needs 20,000 people to watch his back. He needs someone to report on him about goings on over here, or what this person is up to, or yada yada yada. And I think having I think that this his sign to them of sparing them is like the tip of that iceberg, and him kind of discovering that
negotiation.
Yeah, like he can't do this alone. But that one was easy, right? They follow power and they respected him for what he did, and he won that one pretty easily. I don't think there are going to be any other victories as easily.
100%, yeah.
It's going to be more complicated from now on.
There are things we wanted to talk about in the episode, so we should probably talk about them.
Yeah.
The Night Wind assassin gets dragged into Boba Fett's lair and he won't talk. So they drop him in the Rancor pit, and this is so much fun, where Fennec Shand plays with the legend of Jabba the Hutt to scare this guy. Yeah. Not the legend of Boba Fett.
No.
Because this guy is not scared of Boba Fett. Yeah. But this guy is scared of the stories he's heard about Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett is going to have to break away from that because he's not going to be able to use Jabba's name to gain power. It's just not going to work because there are Hutts in town. We're going to talk about them Hutts.
Yeah.
But this episode started with this very serious threat. Mm-hmm. This horrifying moment for this character that was such delicious humor for the audience. And that plays out throughout this whole episode. There is so much humor. This episode is so funny.
Yeah.
And I loved the way they brought humor into Boba Fett through a threat of horrific, gruesome violence. Mm-hmm. And like that Rancor's been dead for like 5.5 years-ish at this point.
Right.
But the legend of that Rancor is not dead. And oh god, it was so sweet.
Yeah, that moment was very funny. Mm-hmm. And she's like, it's empty.
And then the little mouse was scampering out of its hole was
excellent. No, that was very fun. And I was like, wait, like I was sitting there, I was like, there's no Rancor in there, is there? I was like, oh, okay, I guess I missed that. And I was like, oh no.
Well, because Boba Fett said no torture. Uh-huh. So they got to be creative. And I love that Fennec Shand is being creative.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant. I love that moment. It was so good. And so so then he's like, in his fear of being eaten by the Rancor, he's like, it was the mayor who sent me. Mm-hmm. And so they drag this guy to the mayor. Mm-hmm. We have another little comedy bit where the secretary's like, oh, I don't see an appointment here today.
I thought that dude was about to have his head blown off.
Yeah, I was like, you're dead.
I really thought, I was like...
Yeah, you're dead. Although it does say something to the mayor's power and influence, that he can act how he wants to whoever he wants, and he believes in that building he is safe. He works for the mayor. He is a representation of the mayor. Yeah. And, he's like, nah, I'm good. But they walk right past him. It is a testament
to the fact that power in Tatooine isn't what it used to be, right? The who holds power in Tatooine is not who it used to be. And Boba Fett can't just take Jabba's power. He has to earn his own.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So we go into the mayor's room. We pass that Major Domo who will die. Or will work for Boba Fett.
He's gonna be like a waiter, though.
No, he might be Boba Fett's Bib Fortuna. I don't know. I have a feel. He's very funny and he's a really talented actor. I feel like they could bring him. He could stick around for multiple seasons.
Yeah.
He is the kind of guy that Boba Fett doesn't trust, but
he's also really like hateable for the audience, so he might die.
But that means they might be able to redeem him. Like he could be a beloved character. Like by season 3, people could be like my favorite character, right?
Maybe.
It's sometimes fun to have that kind of like shifting demographic of your characters.
Yeah.
So we go in and we meet the mayor, who's an Ithorian, which was very fun. I love seeing these traditional Star Wars aliens. The Ithorians are so freaking weird.
Yeah.
They're just a long tongue with eyes.
Weird.
And the Ithorian, is the mayor who didn't pay tribute, and then does pay tribute because the Nightwind assassin, who he might have sent, but maybe didn't.
He made it sound like he didn't.
Right, but the Nightwind assassin says that it is mayor, and I think the Nightwind assassin believes that, which leads me to believe that Boba Fett was... So I think the Hutts knew that their assassins would fail. They wanted them to not fail, but they knew they were willing to bet that they would fail. Yeah. So they convinced the Nightwind assassins that they were sent through the mayor because they want to destabilize the region for when they show up in their litter. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Smart moves. These Hutts, big brains. It's because they don't have muscles, so they're all brain.
Yeah.
There's a reason they have so much power. And the mayor's like, look, really think about it. Really think about it before you kill me. And Boba Fett's like, I'm not going to kill you right now, but I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Then he says, go to the bar.
Yeah, go back to the sanctuary, which was we had to turn up the volume because you vastly misheard that sentence.
Yeah, I was like,
It's Ithorian speak. It's hard, right? Like it's not.
And it's also that speak with the translator over top of it.
Yeah.
I found whatever voice they used for the translating machine actually very difficult to understand. Mm-hmm. Just personally.
I didn't. I really appreciate it. I loved the way I really loved the whole appearance of the Ithorian. The fact that it never like really moved. It was just very calmly sitting there talking to Boba Fett. I hope we get more of that character.
I'm sure.
Because he's so calm.
I'm sure we will.
In the face of one of the most dangerous humans in the galaxy.
Yeah, no. We're definitely going to get more of him.
Back at the casino. Mm-hmm. And this is where, like, this scene feels like it was the second part of the pilot with this character, right? Is like, we're still introducing all these characters and this world. Mm-hmm. We go back there, and there's no offer for a helmet cleaning this time, and we don't get the offer for the Gamorreans to get hosed and fed, unfortunately.
No, she comes over, and she's very nervous. He's like, you're sweating, and she's like, oh, you haven't heard. And then we hear the drum beats.
Yeah. The drums, and then they go outside. The twins are here. And it is two Hutts who are they're like cuddled up in a way that, like, I hope they're not related, but I know they are related.
He says his sister.
I know, they're just too close.
They're Hutts. I don't think they.
I know. But like they're just too, like, physically intimate. When siblings get too physically intimate, even if it's not, like, sexual, but it's just like
they just ooze into one another.
You know, those siblings that, like, when they see each other, they just, like, hug for, like, too long, and you're like, you guys, you know you're related, right?
I've never.
That's
seen
what
that.
it felt like. Oh God, yeah. Don't go to family reunions. It's always a bad time, especially in the South.
Wow.
I have an aunt who's also my cousin.
That's fun.
Yeah. So,
anyways.
So, they go outside. They see the twins. They're too close. They have a little convo. A little conversation.
Yes.
And then out steps
Wookie. Big Wookie. I forgot his name. You're the one who looked at it.
Good old Santy. Black Krrsantan. No, Santy.
Santa.
People call him Santy.
It's the big white beard. It's Santa.
Yes, it is Wookiee Santa.
Okay, that makes sense.
He's coming down your chimney on Life Day to bring little toys.
I knew I recognized him from somewhere.
All the Ewoks and good little boys. So Black Krrsantan in live action. And he's not as tall as I thought, but, like, he looks fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know how realistically they can make, like, if he's played by a real person, they can only get somebody
Chewbacca's
so tall.
tall.
Yeah, he looked like he was as tall as Chewbacca.
You think?
Yeah.
He looked like he was as tall as Boba Fett. And I mean, maybe it was just like that one shot. I think it was maybe the perspective of a single shot that maybe, like, because Black Krrsantan in the comics, and I only know the character from a run where he is hunting down Obi-Wan, and it's really fantastic. And he's such a cool design, and, you know, the bounty hunter who is the disgraced Wookiee is, like, really just, he's awesome. And he almost takes out Obi, you know what I mean? Crazy shit. And so to see him in the comics, he's, like, towers over Obi-Wan, and he's just massive.
Yeah.
And to see him in live action, like, brought me so much joy. You saw.
Yeah.
It brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah, I was there. It's weird. I feel like I recognized him from somewhere, but I've never read any of the comics, so, like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. But yeah, that was a really cool to see. I love the design. It looks great in live action. Also, the litter that the Hutts were on was very interesting. Like, how it, like, buckled.
Yeah.
How the people were, like, they were struggling. They were struggling to carry it, you know?
Yeah, it's like carrying two, like, Ford Fusions. You know what I mean? Is that a bad reference? Does that make any sense?
No, two trucks.
I want to see two Ford Fusions, like, cuddling on a litter now.
No.
I want the next Ford Fusion commercial to be this scene from The Mandalorian, or from Boba Fett, but they carry two Ford Fusions out on a litter.
No. No, thank you.
The nice thing about this is the rule of Chekhov's gun. And the rule of Chekhov's gun is that you don't introduce a gun in the first act if it doesn't go off by the end of the play. And what's so fun about seeing Black Krrsantan in this episode is not that we see him fight, because we don't see him fight yet.
No, he doesn't do anything.
But
yet
we are going to see him fight. And Boba Fett v. Black Krrsantan is the epic finale this show needs.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want either of them to die, but, like, it's fantastic. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And, like, to see a live action Wookiee get to play a main part in a show like this is so, I'm over the moon for this reveal. I really, it means a lot to me, and I'm really, really excited for it.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I'm looking forward to whenever he comes back.
I'm looking forward to the comments under this video where people just rip apart my pronunciation of Krrsantan, because I have no idea how to pronounce it.
I just assumed that you knew. But
I mean, it's probably Black Krrsantan or something like that, right?
No.
So that's but here's where this episode gets weird, right? That is the entire present day storyline.
Yeah, and then we flip directly into the flashback.
Not directly. We do see Boba Fett lie in his pod really quick.
Right.
Because we have to understand that the flashbacks are him
dreaming. Back
to dreaming about.
He's like, the good old days.
The good old days.
When I was sunburnt all the time.
When no one around me spoke. They just made sand people noises.
Those noises are something.
You don't like them. Is it rough watching the flashbacks because of them for you?
No. Okay. No. Only very certain moments sometime I'll be like, gosh. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't ruin it for me. It just, it is well designed. Mm-hmm. It is really well designed, and I got to give credit, where it's due. But yeah, we get more flashbacks, and
we get a further complication of the narrative behind the Sand People on Tatooine. And I was saying to you in bed, I really love how modern Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, have taken the Sand People and really given them more depth and culture than just these lunatics in the desert that you have to be afraid of. These are real people, and they have desires, and they have family, and they have culture, and they have heritage, and they have beliefs, and they have traditions, and it's been very I think it's been a little bit complicated for Star Wars to talk about this stuff because it brings up conversations about colonialism and things that Star Wars has always kind of strayed away from. But it's doing so in a way that I think is lending a lot of agency to the characters and really making them interesting and making them leads in their show.
Yeah.
So I've been really enjoying it, and I think the Sand tribe, I love them. I love these characters, and it hurts when they get shot now.
Yeah, for sure. And we really saw that difference right from episode 1 to episode 2 where we did care about them, right? And so there's this big floating train, basically a speeder train, I guess.
Yeah.
Flying across the desert, and it's obviously happened before. They know what's happening. They kind of take cover, but also kind of try to shoot at it as they get picked off by shooters from this train. And I was like, why don't you just hide? I don't know.
I will say, the sharpshooters on both sides of this train fight are better than the sharpshooters in any other Star Wars scene.
Yeah.
They're picking people off from a moving train or shooting into a moving train better than, no, a stormtrooper could never. I'm saying.
No, a stormtrooper, could not dream. But yeah, so a bunch of them die.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett's like, nah, I'm not gonna have it. No. So he goes to a bar. He tells the tribal person, the chief, he's like, hey, we're gonna take out that train. I'll be right back. I'll be back in the morning. Goes to a bar where the gang from episode 1 has
that the kid showed him.
Yeah, the kid showed him this gang. Good thing that kid was there. Yeah. I have a feeling that kid is going to be a very convenient device a few more times. Anyways, so it goes...
I don't think he's been convenient. I think he's done reasonable things.
Well, I don't know. They're like, look at the...
Yeah.
It's fine.
He does just kind of take them to this house to watch. He's like, this isn't relevant to what we're doing, but we're going to go watch this gang beat up this house.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's whatever. So Boba Fett goes to the bar where this gang is... being all rambunctious and takes this guy's drink.
It's a bar in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing in any direction. I was like, how does this bartender...
make money? How does
drinks get here?
No idea. That's a mystery for another day, I guess. But Boba Fett literally opens the door mid, I want to say fight, but they're basically just beating up a guy. There's no real fight. Opens the door.
That shot
of the
reveal
silhouette. Oh, it was so good.
So Western. And this whole episode, much like episode 2 of Firefly, and I do think it is very funny that episode 2 of Firefly and episode 2 of Boba Fett are both train heists.
I don't remember episode orders for Firefly, but yeah, that is
the reason I know that Firefly episode 2 is the train heist is because when Fox aired them, they didn't like the pilot, and so they aired the train heist first because they thought that it was more interesting, but people didn't connect to it because it didn't introduce any of the characters.
Yeah, what?
And so the train heist is on television the first episode, but it's not the pilot where you meet everyone, which aired second on Fox.
Weird.
It's a whole thing. Anyway, So I do love that both episode 2s of these sci-fi shows are train heists, because we cannot get away from Westerns. Red Dead Redemption 2 in space. That's what this is. That's what the show is, essentially, right?
Yeah. And so we get that reveal. Boba Fett does not say a word, walks in, beats the crap out of these guys, and then leaves.
And then doesn't say a word after.
Nope, that says nothing.
Knocks them all unconscious.
Absolutely nothing. And then takes their bikes. And the best part of that whole scene is that he could have just walked up to the bar, taken their bikes, and left. But no, he walked into the bar and beat the crap out of them first. Probably saving this guy's life. Yeah. And then
because that guy's an idiot. Yeah. First of all, why are those two still in that bar? They would have left a long time ago.
Leave. Yeah, you wouldn't be there.
They don't work there. They're like trying to enjoy their drinks. I'm like, just go.
Yeah, pay your tab and leave. Like,
so Boba Fett ties the speeder bikes together, which I didn't know that you could do. But he literally like rustles the horses and like rides the 5 horses back to camp. It is just, this episode literally is just a beautiful homage to Westerns in the way that so much of Star Wars is. But this one like visually references Western filmmaking with the way the horses are following him, with the fact that they're about to shoot at the horses riding in until one of them sees that it's him on the front and no one else is on any of the horses, so they stop them. Yeah. Like the literal shot by shot of this whole this second half of the episode is lifted from some of the best Westerns ever made.
Yeah.
And it's so smart because it's fun, and like people like me who really like Western filmmaking, it ties that together really nicely. It's just fun. This episode was great. I really did love it.
I loved it as well. It made my day better, honestly.
Yeah, and the fight sequence in the bar is really like
the fight sequence is great. And so Boba Fett teaches the Sand People how to ride these speeders so that they can take out the train, and we have one of the coolest
but let's not skip the speeder sequence.
Oh god, yeah.
The first for him explaining go forward and go back maybe went on and stop. Maybe went on a little too long.
Yeah.
But it was worth it for the payoff of the guy thinking that he was pulling the brakes and he ends up going backwards. Yeah. And I was like, that is so funny. He wants to test the brakes before he goes forward, but instead he shoots. I was like, that's great. And then Boba Fett, Tamora Morrison makes great faces, but Boba Fett standing with the dad smile of like watching a Little League game, just being like,
yeah.
I was like, this is so funny.
So
the show is so funny.
Yeah, it really is. That whole sequence of them learning how to ride was very funny, but also great, and it paid off. And like they take out this train.
Yeah.
Which we talked about already before, but just really was an incredible sequence, especially when the tribal warrior popped into the train, swung in, started pulling the people down.
Rode the speeder bike, and he leaps off and crashed the speeder bike into the back half of the train. Awesome.
Yeah.
Although I will say, one thing I will say is the number of people in this tribe is confusing to me.
See, yeah.
The size of it is...
There's like 10 people, but we've seen at least 10 people die.
But sometimes there's like a lot more.
I don't think I've ever seen any more than.
But at the end of the train sequence, when they're surrounding the spice miners, right? Yes. There are just a bunch more sand people, considering how many people we've just seen die. And then when they're riding down, there's 8 people on the speeders,
and
then there's
like
die. There's like kids on the ridge, and then there's sharpshooters way down.
Yeah,
I'm not.
We've never seen like how large this tribe is.
Which means that every time people from this tribe die, it doesn't seem to have as much weight, because it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like the number of sand people goes down.
Yeah, it's very strange. And
we saw 2 banthas die in this, and you'd think that would matter to the tribe, but then this train also passes like this like giant herd of banthas.
I don't know if that was the Sand People's tribe, but yeah, it was close enough that it could be.
They could take those though and make them their banthas. You know
for sure.
So it's just this episode almost had a feeling of like making the Sand People a little bit replaceable, which I didn't love. That wasn't my favorite thing about the action sequence. Everything else though, that's a small complaint. They want to have enough people to make these things exciting. I get that, and they did. This episode was very exciting.
Yeah,
and it led to the hardest I've laughed in a long time, like in like comedies. Like I have not laughed as hard as I literally laughed so hard that I hurt my rib when that droid yeeted himself out of the train.
Yeah, Boba Fett gets to the front of the train, and the droid realizes that the train is screwed. Like, royally screwed, and is like, nah, and throws himself out of the window.
I'm not gonna lie. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it was great. I need that gif.
Maybe not the funniest, but, like, it's up there.
Yeah.
I hurt myself. I laughed so hard.
Yeah, that was very funny.
And then it just scampers along. I'm like, where are you going? You're a droid. Like...
Stay away from the Jawas.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars has really been lately playing more and more with how much agency, how much, AI do these droids have. And that was one of those moments where I was like, that droid's like, I'm not going down with this ship. I'm out.
No. No, it was great.
God, it's so good.
That moment was fantastic. And also Boba Fett communicating with the, like, people that they took the train from. Saying, this is now our land. We have, you need to pay a toll if you want to cross through it. And we will protect you, like, this won't be, like, a one-sided agreement. I think that he's very, like, fair in that. But he's like, these lands belong to the Sand people, and you will respect that. I don't think they will.
I want to point out, he doesn't say our.
No. He says there.
He does distance himself from it. He is acting in their benefit.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that this episode does smartly, so that it can kind of avoid the narrative that, like, Boba Fett is,
like, taking over.
Yeah. Is that, because that's not the narrative that I think the show wants. I don't think Boba Fett is going to be invading the Tuskens, like, hierarchy and, like, trying to be, because that's a weird,
Yeah.
We're not trying to go full Last Samurai here, but I think that he's very clear that this is Tusken land. And if you try and mess with them, I will hurt you because I care about them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to benefit the tribe. And I think that mentality is why he gets welcomed so wholly in at the end of this episode. And why this episode ends on this, like, really, like, beautiful and very, like, joyful. One of the best examples of joy in Star Wars, in my opinion, is this I don't want to call it a haka. I feel like that's where my brain goes because Tamara Morrison is from New Zealand. But this dance around the fire, this ceremonial, traditional dance that they do, and that he's been fully welcomed in by given his own stick. Yeah.
How the episode ended was really stunning. But before that, there's the moment where the leader's like, I have a gift for you. And, like, opens this thing, and it's a little lizard. It's a little lizard. And then the lizard jumps into his nose. And Boba Fett's like, oh, I think I swallowed it.
But the best part of the scene is that he looks at it and goes, oh, it's a lizard.
Yeah.
And then it jumps up his nose, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I think he's so calm. Yeah. Like, I would be like,
there is a thing inside of me.
I would be Keanu Reeves in The Matrix being like, oh my God, what is happening? And he's like, I'm so sorry. I think I swallowed your lizard.
I hated it.
So then he goes and gets his branch, which
he has a little fever dream. Yeah.
His fighting stick. They call it rifle and stick. So I don't know if they just call it a stick or what its actual name is. I want to learn that now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, that final moment of the, like, dance, the ceremony, the, like, welcoming in was really well done. And overall, I think, like, super strong episode.
Yeah, I loved the carving too. I love that Boba Fett, really talented wood carver.
Yeah, and they're really unique. I mean, he had help, obviously.
I know, I'm kidding.
Right. But, like, yeah, each one is unique, and I think that's really cool. I wonder what happened to that steak.
I think he still has it. I think that's going to be what he kills Black Krrsantan. If Black Krrsantan dies, I think that it will be in hand-to-hand combat, and Boba Fett will use that stick. I think that... I want to know what the actual name is, because I feel like calling it a stick demeans it. It feels like it's, like, more important than that.
Yeah.
But hopefully by next week I'll know. But I think that will come back in... I think the big fight between him and Black Krrsantan will come down to no, like, blasters. I think it'll be him with that stick... Yeah. Versus Black Krrsantan, and I think that'll be kind of like the wrap-up of the season. And I am here for it.
Yeah.
Unless that happens earlier, and then there's more to the story than that. I don't know. We'll see. But I really can't wait. There's a lot of characters on the show I can't wait to die. I think the Ithorian will die. I think those two Hutts, probably gonna die.
Yeah.
Just gotta
get permission.
Fun little tidbit for the permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the Hutt clan, because like he might be the daimyo of Tatooine, but you gotta those Hutts, man. Don't cross the Hutts.
Yeah. You gotta do things. There is a right way to do things now. You cannot just hunt for bounties.
Otherwise, the bounty will be on you.
Yep. Yeah. And that's danger.
That's kind of the whole episode, right?
Yeah.
God, it was good.
Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Super looking forward to next week. I guess let us know if you liked this week's episode better than last week's. I think I did.
Ooh,
as a whole,
I don't know. They're so one story to me. Like it really is to me. Like these first 2 episodes are like one little beginning to the Boba Fett story.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I do wish that they had come out together, but
yeah. But you know, it doesn't matter because in the future I will watch them as one thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, all right.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. If you like this episode, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, leave a mean comment down below because the algorithm god is hungry. We must feed her. You can also hit the dislike button because you can't see it, but we can. So you can just press that button and just poke us right in our feelings.
Oh,
you can,
no.
You can support this nonsense over on Patreon, patreon.com/nerdynightly, or you can become a member of the YouTube, become a narg of the nerd table.
The narg of the nerd table.
Which is what we're going to be calling those now. So join up, have fun, don't be mean, and do something nerdy tonight.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.